All of you would be curious to know who was Chaucer, how did he look like, how his achievements can be so huge and enormous. What could be the reason? There would be endless questions like this. Each one of you would be curious to find more information about Chaucer. Folks, to know more, stay tuned to Lit Infinite. Hello students. I would like to today give you a few biographical facts about Chaucer's life. Geoffrey Chaucer was the son of John Chaucer. His father was a salesman of wine, or probably a merchant who supplied wine to the royal family. Chaucer was born in the year 1340. Now, since his father was directly connected to royal gentry, even Chaucer had the chance of going to the royal family, visiting the royal family again and again, and that was the kind of a privilege very few had. And Geoffrey Chaucer was fortunate enough to get a chance to visit the royalty again and again. He was made the page to the wife of the Duke of Clarence, who was the third son of Edward III. Now, you might be curious to know what a page is. Page is actually a servant or an assistant, queen or the royalty, to take care of wheels or to scatter flowers during a wedding ceremony. They could be a messenger, they could be messengers too. In fact, during the Anglo-Saxon period, during the Middle Ages, during the Elizabethan era, during the Victorian era, wheel of a queen or ladies was supposed to be one of the prestigious thing for a women. So the yards, the number of yards that the woman used to carry behind her wheel had to be managed by somebody. So the royalty and the higher class people appointed pages to do this work. So Chaucer has done this work either for the king or for the queen by taking care of the flowers and the other accessories which are required by the royalty. Now, the second thing which I would like to emphasize was, is he was, after 2 years, that is when he became the page, he was a page for 2 years, and after 2 years, he was taken as a prisoner of war by the French people, and was ransomed by the king himself, and he became a valet later of the king's chamber. Again, you would like to know who a valet is. A valet is again a man's personal attendant who is responsible for his clothes, his appearance, and his accessories are taken care of by the valet. And Chaucer, it appeared that he was a valet to the king to help his needs as far as his accessories and clothes are concerned. These valets had the responsibility of taking care of the appearances of the royalty. Maybe the king, since he was a male attendant, valet, he was supposed to take care of his needs, how he looked, and the whole responsibility of the king's wardrobe or accessories had to be handled by the valet. So here again he occupied a very important position into the king's uh, palace or chamber. Now the third important biographical detail which I would like to give you is that he married Philippa, and uh, he got a son whose name was Louis. Gradually, I think he wrote a work called as Treatise on Astrolabes, and this treatise he dedicated to his son Louis. And one more important biographical detail you should know is that his wife Philippa was a sister to the wife of John of Lancaster. Now we come to the next perspective, and that is how he looked. How was he in appearance? Everybody would be naturally curious to know how he looked like, because there was no photography as such during his time, during 13th and the mid 13th century. People had to make portraits, they had to sketch and all those things. So whatever the sketches were available, on the basis of that, I think very little information is available about his physical personality. But still then we could find out major personality trait of his, and that was he was a very plump and soft-natured, shy, jovial, and a jolly good fellow. Okay, he had a humorous countenance. What I mean to say, he was basically humorous, and he was a very simple person. He had a habit of laughing over himself in a very cute way, and that was very much admired by his fellows and the royalty, the clergy, the parsons, and whomever he met into his life, and that made him a very adorable personality. And I think this much of detail is quite enough for you to proceed to the further details. One more important detail which I would like to give you, I mean that will help you to assess his works properly. I want to mention that in the year 1378 he was employed on diplomatic missions from France to Italy. It was, I think, fairly during this time that he was a member of the Parliament for the Kent, and also held the office of Controller of Customs in the Port of London. Now just this is to be noted, students, the variety of professions he is going into. He was a Controller of Customs, I said, and because of this, since he was the Controller of Customs, he was offered a pension of maybe some I don't know what was the actual, whether it was dollar or some coins or pennies, we don't know, but he had a very handsome pension because due to this he was very prosperous during his life, except for a brief period, and he died in 1400, and he was buried in Westminster Abbey. Now this is the biographical information which I am sharing with you. But one thing I should say, that it's really unfortunate that nobody knows anything much about his schooling. apart from the scholarly display of knowledge and wisdom which ornament his works, it proves, these two things prove that he was uh, a very wise person, a very intelligent person, and it proves that he must have had a very thorough education. He was a voracious reader, which is very obvious. He loved books, and one could divert his attention. When you read his books, you'll come to know that nobody could divert his attention when nature displayed herself, when nature showcased herself. Huh? So he was just obsessed, you can say, by the natural beauty of the earth. And let me tell you, he had a very hectic life. But the thing was, that was admirable about him, that he observed life at very close quarters. It's very obvious because he has been interacting with people from all stratas of the society, beginning from the royalty to rogues. So, uh, he was a soldier too. He was, uh, uh, you can call a multifaceted personality. That would sum up his description. And one more thing I would like to tell you, that you should not forget that he was a multitasker, because he became a page, he became a soldier, he became a diplomat, he became a official member of the parliament, and a great courtier. Uh, so all these combine his personality, the wholesome personality, I would like to say, and you will not find such a personality into literature, because he had a very keen eye to observe people in a very detailed way, and he has naturally presented these observations into his works, which is a big variety of a close observation of human life itself. It educates you of every person, and hence educates you for life. And that is what literature is meant for, and that is what Chaucer did. So it's a very valuable contribution what Chaucer has done to the uh, humanity, and it's a universal contribution, and uh, it's really commendable, incredible, simply magnificent, and I have no words now to describe him more. I think this much of information about his character, life, nature, works is enough for you students. Actually, one important thing again which you should note is there is no evidence of dates of Chaucer's books, because all we know is that the printing press was invented 40 years after his death. So it was really difficult to decipher dates and comply the same things to his books. So it is a very important thing that you should mention somewhere, that the printing press was invented 40 years after his death. I am repeating it so that it should be remembered by you. So friends and students, whoever are watching my video, I hope you like my comments and my observations, and a little bit of research which I have done on him. I want you to please comment on my short description about him, and please feel free to ask me questions on the subject. Let's meet you in our next video. So thanks a lot for watching my video. Bye.